And Congressman, I know you're focused, you're laser focused on security of that day, and that is a part of the conversation and the investigation. That should be a part of it, but you're not opposed to what happened before, during, after, the entire lead up. You're not opposed to that investigation as well, in addition to the security.
It was at that moment Jim Jordan knew he fucked up.
Never said it was stolen, Mr. Chairman. I'll give you the same answer. Never said it was. I said we should investigate it. I said on January 6th, when the electoral votes were counted, that Joe Biden is president of the United States. And if you got a problem with that, I don't understand it. The real question is why don't you guys want to investigate what happened?
You said a lot of words just now, but unfortunately, you're still unwilling to say those 5 simple words. And
But here, let me ask you a question. You brought up January 6th.
That fundamental question is, why wasn't there a proper security posture that day?
But you brought up January 6th, Mr. Chairman?
what?
You brought up January 6th, and you said we tried to overturn the results of the election by simply objecting? Here's what I know.
Let me say, I don't know.
Okay, well, I hope I get a chance to respond at some point. No, I did mention Bannon's name. I mentioned it very first.
About inflation.
No, I did. No, I didn't. I said there are 4 batches of subpoena. The first batch, Bannon, Meadows, Patel, Scavino, first name I mentioned. You got to go back. I'm sure the reporter can bring up the record.
Yeah, I think.
No, I oppose it because it's I mean, look, you got the 2 impeachment managers that you put on the committee, Adam Schiff and Jamie Raskin. You got Benny Thompson, chairman of the committee, who objected to the electors when George Bush ran. I guess the rule is only Democrats are allowed to object to accepting the electors on January 6th when we count the electors. And only the Speaker's office can answer that question. The people who should be called as witnesses are the ones who can answer the fundamental question. Why wasn't there a proper security presence and posture that day? Those are the people who need to be called. And it is obvious, based on the comments from the chairman of this committee, Chairman Thompson, that he doesn't want to do that. So the 2 questions need to be answered is, why wasn't there a proper security presence that day? And what are we doing to make sure this doesn't happen again? Those are the witnesses that should be called.
January 6, 2017. Guess who the first person was to object to counting the electoral college results for Mr. Trump? Guess who it was?
It was me.
It was you. Guess which state? Alabama, a state President Trump won by 30 points. So you can object to Alabama on January 6, 2017, and for 4 years, you guys can go after President Trump, the Trump-Russia investigation. You can do that for 4 years. In October of 2020, Hillary Clinton said just weeks before the election, she said the 2016 election was stolen from her. So you guys can investigate that, all based on lies, for 4 years. We're not allowed to ask questions for 4 minutes about the 2020 election. We're not allowed to object in Pennsylvania, where they unconstitutionally changed their election law, but you can object to Alabama?
Because Jamie Raskin objected on January 6, 2017 to the electors from Florida. Benny Thompson objected to the electors from when George Bush won the office. So maybe they're the only ones who are allowed to. I can't object when there's unconstitutional changes made to the election law in Pennsylvania, Arizona, and others. I'm not allowed to object to that.
There's a difference. The difference being where Democrats are allowed, but Republicans
Mr. Jordan,
aren't.
if you don't want to testify here, you're free to leave.
You're free to leave.
No, of course not. And Leader McCarthy said we're going to do that on our own. Republicans, we have 2 bipartisan support signed off, 2 committees in the United States Senate signed off by both Republicans and Democrats, Republican staff, Democrat staff. So of course we want to get to the answers, but there's a fundamental question that Chairman Thompson refuses to answer. And that's why I think I was not allowed to participate, and Mr. Banks was not allowed to participate.
You keep saying all kinds of things. Don't give me a chance to respond.
Seriously, give me a break. Give me a break.
Can I respond? I'm not trying to whitewash anything. Republicans have been consistent. We have condemned violence every stinking time it happened. We condemned it on January 6th, and 600 people are being prosecuted and held accountable for what they did wrong, as well they should be. But it would have been nice if you guys would have condemned the violence in the summer of 2020, instead of making statements like my colleague just read. It would have been nice, instead of the Vice President of the United States raising money to bail rioters out of jail, it would have been nice if you'd have done that. No. This double standard, you guys get to say all the things you did about Trump for 4 years. You get to have the summer of 2020 and call it peaceful protest. We condemn violence every single time. It'd have been nice if you guys had done the same. I am so sick of the double standard. Americans are so sick of the double standard.
Well, you can yell and scream as much as you want. So,
You're allowed to object, we're not.
So no?
Well, look, I didn't do anything. I have nothing to hide. I'll be happy to talk to whoever wants to talk. But what I'm saying is the witnesses who should be called are the people who can answer those two fundamental questions. And everyone understands that. I have had countless number of conversations with President Trump. I mean, look, for over 4 years, I mean, countless number. I never talk to the media about those conversations because, frankly, those are conversations with the President of the United States. But none of those conversations dealt with anything about that would be in any way wrong.
And Congressman, I know you're focused, you're laser focused on security of that day. And that is a part of the conversation and the investigation. That should be a part of it. But you're not opposed to what happened before, during, after, the entire lead up. You're not opposed to that investigation as well, in addition to the security.
Well, I mean, President Trump said peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. We heard his whole speech. We watched the whole rally. He
also
video.
said
We've
fight
seen
like
all
hell,
kinds of
though,
video about
Congressman.
that day. But that seems to be what all the Democrats care about, which frankly is all they've cared about for the last 5 years, is going after President Trump.
Is it possible, Congressman, that he is responsible?
DJ, you know who's responsible for the things that happened? The people who did wrong, and they should be prosecuted. And guess what? That is what is happening. The idea that the president's responsible is ridiculous. The people who are responsible are the people who did the wrong actions, and they should be held accountable, and they are in fact being held accountable.
It was you.
did you discuss with President Trump a coordinated effort to overturn the results of the election?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what that is. Of course not. Of course I talked to the president. I talked to him that day. I've been clear about that. I don't recall the number of times.
The reason why I ask is, you had 84 days since you said you couldn't remember, and you would check. So if you could just clarify the record, was it before, during, or after?
Talked to the president after the attack.
So not before or during?
Right.
You said to a reporter from Politico that you spoke to him during. So it was now after the attack, or you?
During. No, I did not speak to the president during the attack.
And you later said that I'm sure that one of the Trump-involved calls took place in the safe room because we were in that room forever. I mean, that's what you...
Yeah, after the thing, that's what I said.
I guess, are you willing to tell the Select Committee what you know about events leading up to, during...
I've been
and
clear all
after
along.
that
I've
day?
got nothing to hide. I've been straightforward all along. And I've been clear about that.
Give me a break.